ladies and gentlemen. You are strong. You may not always feel it. You might question it in moments of doubt, in times when everything around you seems to be crumbling, when the weight of the world presses down on your shoulders. But that strength is there within you, whether you recognize it or not. It is not a strength that simply appears in moments of triumph, but one that's forged in the fires of adversity, built over time, through the struggle, the resistance, the effort to continue when every fiber of your being says to stop. You are strong because you have the ability to face pain, to face fear, to confront the unknown, and to stand tall in the face of it. Strength is not just about physical power. It is about the courage to move forward when you don't know what's ahead. It's the decision to rise again and again, despite the setbacks, despite the failures. The world will test you, life will challenge you, and you will face moments of deep despair. But you will not be defined by those moments. You are not weak because you falter. You are strong because you get up, even when you don't want to. You are strong because you make the choice to continue. What is strength, really? It's the resilience to transform suffering into meaning. Every hardship, every painful experience, every moment of discomfort is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to grow, to learn, to evolve into something more than you were before. You might look back at the most difficult moments of your life and see nothing but scars, but those scars are proof. Proof of the battles you fought, the trials you've endured. They are the testament to the power that lies within you, hidden beneath the surface. You see, strength is not about being invincible. It's not about being perfect or never faltering. Strength is about showing up, even when the task seems insurmountable. It's about holding onto your integrity, your values, even when it feels like the world is pulling you in 100 different directions. It's about standing in your truth, even when others try to impose their own onto you. You are strong because you are willing to stay true to who you are, no matter how difficult that path may be. And strength isn't something that comes naturally to everyone. It's something you cultivate. It's something you build every day. It's the small choices, the little acts of discipline, the moments when you say, I will not give up, I will not give in, I will not let fear or doubt hold me back. You are strong because in those moments you choose to step into the discomfort, to challenge the limitations you've set for yourself, to stretch beyond what you thought was possible. There will always be voices that try to tell you otherwise. There will always be doubts that rise up, whispering that you aren't enough, that you don't have what it takes. Ignore them. They are not the truth of who you are. The truth is that you are capable. The truth is that you have the power to overcome, to achieve, to grow. You are strong not because you are immune to hardship, but because you can face it with courage, with determination, and with an unwavering belief that you can handle whatever comes your way. So, when the world tells you that you're not enough, when it tells you that you can't make it, remember, you are strong, you are capable, you are powerful. Every challenge is an opportunity to prove it to yourself, to reinforce the truth of your own strength. It's there inside you, always waiting to be unleashed. Trust in it, embrace it. You are strong, and that is something no one can take from you. Strength is not something that is handed to you on a silver platter. It is not something that appears effortlessly or without purpose. True strength is forged in the furnace of adversity. It is shaped by the hardships you face, the battles you fight, and the struggles that threaten to break you. You see, when life throws challenges at you, when the world seems relentless in its demands, that's when the opportunity for growth emerges. That's when you discover what you are really made of. People often think that strength is about never feeling weak or never feeling vulnerable. But that's a mistake. Strength isn't about avoiding pain or escaping discomfort. Strength is the ability to face those things head on, to look them in the eye and say, I'm not backing down. It's in those moments of intense pressure, when everything within you screams for you to retreat, that your character is truly built. You cannot become the person you are capable of being without going through trials that push you beyond your limits. Think about it. When you lift weights, you don't get stronger by avoiding heavier loads. You get stronger by gradually increasing the weight, by challenging your muscles to adapt and grow. The same principle applies to life. The hardships you face are like the weights in the gym. They force you to grow, to adapt, to become more resilient. They test your limits, and in doing so, they expand them. The greater the adversity, the stronger you become. But if you constantly shy away from difficulty, if you run from the challenges that come your way, you stagnate. You do not grow, you remain the same. And there's another crucial element to this. The world will always test you. It will push you to the brink. It will make you question your worth, your abilities, your very purpose. And in those moments when everything is on the line, you'll have to make a choice. Will you crumble under the weight, or will you rise to meet it? Strength is a decision. It's a conscious choice to face the adversity, to say, this is hard, but I'm going to keep moving forward anyway. You have to understand that adversity isn't just something to survive, it's something to learn from, to grow through. Every obstacle is an opportunity for you to discover a new layer of your own strength. And that process, that forging, it takes time, it doesn't happen overnight. But it's in the grind, in the continuous effort, in the repeated facing of difficulty that you slowly build the strength that will carry you through whatever life throws at you next. So do not shy away from adversity. Embrace it. Because ultimately adversity is the crucible in which your strength is formed, and you can't afford to ignore that. Resilience in the face of fear is perhaps one of the most defining elements of human strength. Fear is a natural part of being human, a primal emotion that signals danger, uncertainty, and the unknown. And yet fear, while instinctual, can often be the greatest barrier standing between us and our potential. It's not enough to simply acknowledge fear exists. We must learn how to confront it, to face it, and to continue moving forward despite it. This is where resilience is born. Fear can paralyze us, it can cloud our judgment, distort our perception, and make us question whether we're capable of navigating the challenges ahead. When you feel fear, it's easy to believe that the safest path is the one that avoids the thing that frightens you. But this is a fallacy. The truth is that the very thing you fear often holds the key to your growth, your learning, and your ultimate success. Fear tells you that you're about to face something that will test you, something that will require every ounce of your strength. It's a signal, not to retreat, but to engage. Resilience in the face of fear means developing the ability to move forward even when your instincts tell you to run. It's not about the absence of fear, but rather the courage to act in spite of it. It's about acknowledging that fear is a part of the human experience, and then deciding that you will not be ruled by it. The fear of failure, of judgment, of making mistakes, they are all natural. But if you allow them to dictate your actions, you'll find yourself living a life of avoidance, of passivity, and ultimately of regret. You cannot grow if you refuse to step into the arena because you're too afraid to get hurt. Building resilience involves confronting fear directly. You take the step, however small, into the unknown. Each time you act in the face of fear, you become more capable, more accustomed to navigating discomfort. It's like lifting weights. Each rep might feel heavy, but it builds your strength, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. The more you push through fear, the less power it holds over you. The key here is not to let fear paralyze you, but to see it for what it is, a signal of something worth pursuing. Fear accompanies every challenge that's worthwhile. If you're not feeling fear, perhaps you're not pushing yourself hard enough. The most meaningful things in life, success, achievement, love, purpose, are often on the other side of that fear. So you must learn to act in spite of it. Resilience is what allows you to look fear in the face and take that first step, knowing full well that you may falter. But that's okay. What matters is that you keep moving forward. Fear will always be there, it's part of the human experience. But resilience means that fear does not have the power to dictate your life. You do. You make the decision to face it, to rise above it, and to transform it into something that propels you forward rather than holding you back. Strength transforms suffering into meaning. This is not an easy concept to grasp, particularly in a world where the pursuit of comfort and the avoidance of pain are often prioritized. But the truth is, suffering is an inescapable part of life. It's woven into the very fabric of human existence. You cannot live without encountering hardship, pain, or loss. What matters then is not the suffering itself, but how you respond to it and whether you can extract meaning from it. That's where strength lies. The idea of transforming suffering into meaning is a profound one because it requires a shift in perspective. It requires seeing the adversity, the pain, the setbacks, not as obstacles to your happiness, but as opportunities for growth. Think of suffering as the crucible in which your character is forged. In that fire, you can either be broken or you can be refined into something stronger, more resilient, more capable. The suffering is not pointless, it is part of the process of becoming who you are meant to be. There is a deep truth to this. Suffering forces you to confront the parts of yourself that you would rather not face. It forces you to examine your weaknesses, your fears, and your vulnerabilities. It challenges your beliefs, your values, and your sense of identity, and in doing so, it compels you to grow. Without suffering, you wouldn't be able to see the cracks in your foundation, the areas where you need to strengthen and improve. You wouldn't have the opportunity to learn important lessons about yourself, the world, and how you relate to others. This transformation doesn't happen automatically. It takes effort. It takes the conscious decision to seek meaning in suffering rather than simply wallowing in it. When life delivers its hardest blows, you have two choices. You can either fall into despair, letting the pain define you and dictate the course of your life, or you can decide that there is meaning to be found in your struggle. You can decide that the pain you're experiencing can teach you something, that it can build you into a more capable, more compassionate person. Think of someone who has gone through immense hardship, perhaps the loss of a loved one, a deep betrayal, or a period of profound failure. If that person chooses to allow the suffering to overwhelm them, to define them as a victim, they remain stagnant. But if they choose to use that suffering as a springboard for growth, if they allow it to shape their worldview, to deepen their empathy, and to sharpen their determination, then they emerge stronger. This is the essence of meaning. Meaning is not something handed to you on a silver platter. It's something you create through your response to the hardships of life. When you take the suffering that comes your way and transform it into a source of personal development, it becomes a powerful force. It's no longer a force that breaks you, it's a force that propels you forward. Strength is not about avoiding suffering. It's about how you take the suffering and make something valuable out of it. It's about embracing the idea that suffering, when approached with the right mindset, has the potential to transform you, to deepen your life, and to give it meaning. Without this ability, you would remain forever caught in a cycle of pain, never learning from it, never growing through it. But when you face suffering head on, with the strength to extract meaning, you can truly transcend it and emerge stronger than before. Strength is staying true to yourself. This is perhaps one of the most difficult yet most essential forms of strength, and it is often overlooked in the modern world. There's an overwhelming pressure to conform, to bend to the expectations and demands of others. We are constantly bombarded with messages about who we should be, what we should think, how we should live. These external influences from society, from family, from friends can be powerful forces, and they often pull us in directions that are not in alignment with our true selves. But the strength to stand firm in your own identity, to refuse to let the noise of the world dictate your essence, is where real power lies. Staying true to yourself is not about being stubborn or rejecting the input of others entirely. It's about having the courage to listen to yourself, your own thoughts, your own values, your own inner compass, and to make choices based on that inner truth rather than the ever-changing whims of the outside world. It means standing firm in your beliefs and values, even when it would be easier to go along with the crowd, even when those beliefs and values are unpopular or uncomfortable. It's a matter of integrity, and integrity is what builds trust, not just with others, but with yourself. You see, when you lose sight of who you are, when you compromise your core principles to appease others or to avoid conflict, it's like you're sacrificing pieces of yourself. And as you do this, you begin to erode the foundation on which your life is built. You cannot build a meaningful life on a foundation of dishonesty or self-betrayal. That's a house of cards waiting to collapse. To be strong is to make the decision every day to live in alignment with your deepest self. It's about finding the courage to express that self in the world, no matter how much resistance you encounter. But this doesn't mean you will always be understood, nor does it mean you will always be accepted. People will challenge you, they will criticize you, they will try to pull you into their version of what's right, what's acceptable, and what's normal. And the truth is, sometimes the pressure to conform can feel overwhelming. It's easy to bend, to compromise, to just get along with everyone. But here's the key: when you make those compromises, when you betray your true self for the sake of external validation, you lose something of yourself in the process. You can't live a meaningful life if you're constantly looking over your shoulder, second-guessing yourself and measuring your actions by what others think. The real strength comes from being willing to say, this is who I am, this is what I stand for, this is what I believe, and then living that truth unapologetically regardless of the opinions of others. This doesn't mean being rigid or inflexible. It doesn't mean being unwilling to grow or learn from others. What it means is that you have the courage to stay grounded in your own identity, to maintain your core principles while navigating the complexities of life. It means you have the strength to make difficult choices that align with your values, even when it would be easier to take the path of least resistance. Furthermore, staying true to yourself is not always an easy or comfortable path. It often requires facing discomfort, criticism, and isolation, but it's in that discomfort that you grow. It's in those moments of challenge that you learn who you really are and what you're truly capable of. The strength to stay true to yourself builds over time as you face these challenges head on, as you prove to yourself that your integrity is stronger than any external pressure. Ultimately, strength is about owning your story. It's about accepting who you are, flaws and all, and making the conscious decision to move forward from that place of truth. When you're true to yourself, you align your actions with your inner purpose, and that is what creates the foundation for a meaningful life. Only then can you truly stand tall with the confidence and conviction that comes from knowing that you are the author of your own life. Strength is cultivated daily. It's not an event or a single moment of triumph. Strength is a process, a practice, a daily commitment. And here's the crucial thing to understand. You don't wake up one day simply strong. Strength isn't some innate trait you either have or you don't. It's a muscle that you build through consistent effort, through daily choices, and through the relentless application of discipline over time. You can't shortcut this process. You can't cheat your way to strength. It requires work, sometimes hard, grueling, and uncomfortable work. But it's that very work that turns you into someone capable of facing life's challenges head-on. Posh head, life is awful. When we think of strength, we often think of the moment it's needed, the crisis, the catastrophe, the sudden test that demands immediate action. And while those moments are indeed a measure of strength, the reality is that strength doesn't manifest out of nowhere. The foundation for strength is built every single day, long before the storm hits. It's in the discipline to get out of bed when you'd rather stay asleep, to show up for work when you'd rather call in sick, to study when you'd rather relax, to push through when every part of you is telling you to quit. Daily strength is about the little things that add up over time, the consistency that over months and years compounds into something greater than the sum of its parts. It's about building good habits that reinforce your mental and physical toughness. It's about training your body, not just for fitness, but for resilience. It's about fortifying your mind by facing discomfort, by confronting things that scare you, by stepping outside of your comfort zone. Each time you do this, you build strength, not just strength in the traditional sense, but strength of character, the ability to endure, to persist, and to overcome. But strength is not just about external actions, it's about the internal decisions you make daily as well. It's about choosing to be honest, to be responsible, to take ownership of your life. It's about choosing meaning over expedience, about acting in accordance with your values and principles, no matter how much the world tempts you to do otherwise. And this too is a practice, a daily choice. Each time you act in alignment with your values, you solidify your internal strength. You teach yourself to trust your own judgment, your own integrity, you fortify your sense of self. Strength, then, is not an abstract concept. It's the daily act of becoming the person you need to be to face the world with courage, with resilience, and with purpose. You don't get strong overnight, and you don't become a person of integrity by making a single good decision. You do it by making the right choice, consistently, day in and day out, regardless of the obstacles or distractions. Only then do you become truly strong. Ignoring the voices of doubt is one of the most crucial aspects of personal strength. Doubt, particularly self-doubt, is an insidious force that can hold you back more than any external obstacle. It creeps in when you're on the verge of something significant, when you're stepping into new territory, when you're facing a challenge that requires growth and effort. It tells you that you're not good enough, not capable enough, that you don't have what it takes. These voices, often rooted in fear or insecurity, are loud and convincing. But here's the thing, just because they are loud doesn't mean they're true. Self-doubt is a universal experience. Every person, regardless of their achievements or confidence, has faced it at some point. The trick is not to eliminate doubt entirely, because doubt is a part of the human experience, but to learn how to ignore it when it arises. You must develop the ability to recognize doubt for what it is, a mental signal, often a remnant of old insecurities or past failures, but not a definitive truth about who you are or what you can do. It's noise, it's static, and while it might feel compelling in the moment, it doesn't reflect your actual capacity or potential. The first step in ignoring the voices of doubt is recognizing that they do not define you. You are not the thoughts that pass through your mind. You are not the negative chatter that tries to undermine your progress. Just because doubt arises doesn't mean you should listen to it. And it certainly doesn't mean you should act on it. In fact, the more you act in accordance with your doubts, the more you reinforce the belief that you are not capable. And the more you reinforce that belief, the more you limit your potential. It's a vicious cycle. You must learn to observe these doubts with detachment. Recognize them as the products of your mind, but not as the ultimate truth. They are merely transient thoughts, not fundamental facts about your abilities. And when you can see them for what they are, you can choose not to engage with them. You can choose to step forward despite the uncertainty, despite the fear, and despite the negative voices. The key to doing this is developing a sense of conviction about who you are and what you're capable of. When you know your worth, when you are grounded in your values, it becomes easier to ignore those voices of doubt. Strength comes not from never doubting yourself, but from continuing to move forward even when you do. It comes from believing in your potential, regardless of the noise around you. The most successful people are not those who never face doubt, but those who learn to ignore it and keep pushing forward toward their goals. In the end, the voices of doubt are nothing more than distractions. They do not represent your true capabilities. You must learn to trust in yourself, to rely on your own judgment, and to pursue your path despite the fear and uncertainty. Every time you ignore those voices and take action anyway, you reinforce your inner strength, your self-belief, and your ability to succeed. So here's the truth. The world is not kind to the weak. It will test you, it will challenge you, and it will try to break you. But the strength you need to face it isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. You build it every single day through your choices, your actions, and your willingness to confront the fear, doubt, and suffering that inevitably come your way. You cultivate strength by taking responsibility for your life, by confronting the obstacles in your path, and by staying true to yourself when the world pressures you to conform. It's not easy, it's not comfortable, but it is necessary. And the greatest thing you can do is to reject the voices of doubt that tell you you're not enough, that tell you you can't rise above your circumstances. Those voices are lying. You are stronger than you think. You have within you the power to transform pain into purpose, adversity into growth, and fear into action. The road will be hard. You'll stumble. You'll fall. But that's not what defines you. What defines you is what you do next. Will you rise again? Will you continue? The strength you need is already within you. It's just waiting for you to embrace it. So face the world head on, step into your power, know this, you are capable of far more than you realize. The question is, will you choose to show the world what you are truly made of?